Hello friends, this is Jess from J Rose Alchemic Art, back with another video today. For this one I figured I would go over some of the tips and tricks that I have for making some clay earrings. I'm still pretty new at the process myself, but I figured it would be good for those of you who are maybe interested in making your own, either to have for yourself or maybe to make as a gift for friends or maybe even to sell in the future. But I figured I would go over like the supplies you need, some things that I have found that worked well for me, and just other ideas that maybe might help you get started. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the very first thing you are going to need are your supplies. So for me, that is going to be my Sculpey is usually what I use for my polymer clay. And I, take a little bit out of what I need. I also, this is optional, but I have found that if you're pretty new to it and kind of having a more hard time with getting a design, you can always, there's a lot of like different polymer clay cutters that you can find, just, either on Etsy, on Amazon, things like that. So if you are curious about where I found this one, I can link it down below, I believe. But for like this one, this is a really cute little skull design. I mean, I'm more of the Halloween-y type of person all year round if you haven't been following my art, so this is kind of what I like to stick to, but there's lots of different other designs out there, including flowers, which is something else that I'm hoping to get more into this year. Another thing, if you are planning to sell like your earrings later on, either in a market or on your shop, anything like that, I do recommend these little earring holders. Actually, they were pretty cheap, and I just like that they were a bit longer, so if I did have a longer design, they could kind of still hang properly from the card, but also, like, it gives me a lot of space so I can decorate it. So I really enjoyed the fact that I can still, like, maybe use a Posca marker or something like that and draw in a little design or a doodle here and there, just to make the cards unique, too. And then, finally, I also have my supplies here. Okay, now that we have everything out of the bag, I'll actually explain it a little better. So we do have our jewelry pliers, and this will help to actually open up the jump ring, or the eye ring, as well as like a plier to hold everything in place. So you can kind of hold the one piece as you're opening the other up type of thing. And I will show you how each of these steps go so that it's a little bit easier to understand. And then inside of our box, we do have, all of our actual jewelry equipment here. So depending on if you're making studs or dangly earrings, things like that, all things to consider. So you have like your earring backings over here, depending on, again, what color you are using. You also have the clear ones for if you're making a stud, or obviously you can mix and match whatever you think would work best for you. I will tag this down below, hopefully, where I bought it from, in case you are interested in this little kit. It's a very beginner, starter kit. It was pretty cheap, so up to you if you would like to, or please feel free to find your own that works best for you as well. But I have found so far when I've used it that it still bakes well with my polymer clay, and I haven't had any issues with it. So again, trial and error is a good important thing for when you're first starting to make your own things, so nothing wrong with that. But we also have our jump rings here, so that's actually going to be attached. Either, I would recommend baking it into your polymer clay so that way it doesn't like get shifted or moved around or anything like that. And then you have the actual earring itself. So again, depending on how you use it, this is going to be attached to your jump ring, as well as you're going to need the earring backing later as well to, actually make sure it doesn't fall off of the person's ear or your own. So we will get into all these steps in just a little bit here, but I at least wanted you to see all the supplies. Okay, now we are actually going to get into the making of our polymer clay earrings. So for earrings in general, I try to make really small ones just because I don't want it to be too heavy on the ear, you don't want it to be like painful or anything like that. So I would recommend, trying to get as small as you can. For one, it looks really cute. And again, for two, just making sure that it's not going to hurt that person's ear or your own. So, for example, we're just going to start with a little ghosty here. And we have the general shape down now, so we'll put him down. And then we'll work on the other side for the other ear. And yeah, there's lots of different designs that you can think of. Honestly, I would recommend you can look through Pinterest, you can, you know, think up your own designs if you're kind of struggling with it. Looking at magazines, just, you know, Instagram. There's lots of ways that you can kind of find what works best for you. Obviously, you know, your design is going to be different for everyone, so yeah. Another thing is making sure that they're fairly even. So this guy's a little bit thicker. I'm going to go ahead and just remove a little bit from him and reshape. But yeah, there's lots of different things that you can find on the internet or just walking around, you know. Sometimes people watching is a good thing and you can see like other designs. So there we go, that's a little bit better. So now that we have our basic shape ready, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make these into little ghosts. So we'll add our little faces and we'll go from there. So another thing about working with polymer clay is no matter how clean you keep your area, you know, wash your hands, everything before you work with it, you still might get like these little itty bitty pieces of dirt on your clay. So that's why I always recommend keeping a little bit of rubbing alcohol on hand, so that way you can use like a little Q-tip here and clean everything off. So hopefully it comes out a lot, you know, cleaner and more clear. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, and our little clay friend is all clean now. Now we have the opportunity to insert our jump ring here. So we're gonna go ahead and go right up the top. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, we went ahead and inserted our jump ring at the top of our friend here. He looks a little sad now that he's got a little ring hanging out off the top of his head, but that's okay. What we are going to do though is we're going to kind of smooth out and over around this area, so that way when the clay bakes, the ring is not going to fall back out again. So we'll kind of smooth here with our rounding tool. This is also the tool, if you haven't been watching, that I like to use to make my little studs for the eyes and everything and the mouth. So I really like this little one here. But I think he's pretty rounded out for right now. And we will work on our next clay friend. So again, we're going to find where the bottom is, and we're going to insert right up at the top. Perfect. And again, yeah, you kind of see how he's got, I don't know if the camera will pick it up well, but there's a little hole obviously where the ring went in. So we're going to, again, smooth over and cover that up, so when the clay bakes, it's not gonna make the ring come out of his head. So almost feels like doing a little bit of surgery here. But anyway, yeah, so he is looking a little more smoothed out. Let's make sure we're good. And there we go. Yep. He's got a little bit of a divot in his head, but that's okay. I was gonna say he's still looking pretty cute, and him and his buddy are now good to be baked. So one thing I do like about this clay as well is because it is glow in the dark, you know, it kind of charges up when it's under a light or under the sun and everything. And then obviously when you go to, you know, if it starts changing into nighttime or if you go into a darker room, it'll start to glow with it. So very fun. Definitely recommend the glow in the dark clay. Okay. And then I figured I would go over the designs that I use for, if you are a brand new polymer clay artist and you would prefer to use like a stencil, there's nothing wrong with that. It's always good practice, just if you're not feeling as confident quite yet. Or if you are and you just, this is obviously easier to do when you're like making multiple batches. But we will use our little stencil here. We'll press lightly and we will pull them out. So we have our design here, and then we're going to go around and actually just tear off the rest of the clay. So we kind of have a more solid design. We're going to clean them up a little better here in a minute, but at least so we have our basic shape down. So he's looking pretty cute there, and we're going to go ahead and round around. Kind of get our edges a little more clean. And yeah, I think that he's looking pretty cute as is. And again, he's made from our little glow in the dark clay, so it's gonna look a lot better when he's actually, you know, hanging out in the dark. But yeah, I think that that one is pretty good. So we'll go ahead and work on our next friend. And as you can see, like, we have our edges where it was kind of, you know, got rolled out. So we'll kind of roll those out as well, just to make the more even texture, so that way it looks pretty uniform all throughout. And yeah, looking good there. So we'll put him down and then we'll work on our next friend here. Yeah, one thing I have found is with using your stencils for polymer clay, it's important not to like dig too deep into the design, because otherwise it's going to be a lot harder to get it actually out of the stencil. It could actually, you know, stick in between here, obviously, and then you're either going to have like a really hard time getting it out, or, you know, it won't even come out and you'll just have to start over again. So again, we have our design. Let's go ahead and round them out again. And there's lots of different things that you can do. Again, I am more of a, I like to make ghosts and skulls and witches and all those things. But obviously there's lots of different designs that you can make. I definitely think that like little clay foods are really fun. I'm actually thinking about making a like cookie earring. I think that'd just be really fun, like a chocolate chip cookie. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments and I'll think about making it and putting it up on the shop. Or you can come to my next convention, which will be, let's see, it'll be in a few weeks now actually, on February 17th and 18th. It'll be QuadCon. So if you're in the area, come say hi. But yeah, we have our little skull friend here again. And again, they're both ready. They're actually like looking pretty clean now. So what we are gonna do is, let's see if we can, with these smaller ones, it's obviously a lot better to decide ahead of time. I will probably use the stud, and the problem though is that if I push too hard, it could mess up the front of his face. So that's why it's important to think about what your design is, and if you're feeling comfortable and you want to insert this stud right there, totally okay. You might have to make like some little adjustments here and there, but it's probably not a big deal. But because he is so tiny and I don't want to like accidentally punch through his face, I think it might be better to actually glue it on after the fact. So we would use a little bit of like super glue and just attach right to the back there. So up to you, of course. You have to figure out what works for you and for your designs. So it is a bit of a trial and error process as well. Okay, and we have officially baked everything, including I did decide to make some chocolate chip cookie earrings, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and actually glaze everything really quick. So we have our satin glaze here from Sculpey, and we'll just add a little bit to each of our earring pieces here. Okay, and now that everything has been glazed, we'll go ahead and let it sit for a little bit to kind of give it some time to cure, and then we will go ahead and attach our earring pieces. So look forward to it. Okay, we'll go ahead, since these are already cured and everything, we'll add a little bit of super glue here, so that way we can actually attach the stud. Maybe. Hold on, technical thing. Okay, you'll just have to believe that I managed to get it off camera, so I promise that the glue is on there and obviously it's sticking properly. So sorry for not being able to film that properly, but we will go ahead, and these are about done. So we'll go ahead and add our key rings for these as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with our ghost here. I am going to go ahead and hold this. We're actually going to open up our ring here so that we can advance it. Go ahead and do that. We'll attach it to our little friend here. And then we're going to make sure to close everything again, because obviously we don't want him to slide off. So, Again, this is definitely the more delicate work of it after, again, you've, assembled everything with your clay piece. So just make sure that you're careful and close just a little more. And there we go. So yeah, I always like to obviously open it up on the side and then close and pinch around it as well. So hopefully he's not sliding off like he would. So one guy is done and we'll work on the next one. Okay, and all of our earrings are done. I think they're looking very cute. They're all glazed. They all have their earring attachments on. And all that we really have to do is, I'm gonna still let these sit for a bit while it's got the glue there, but we're gonna go ahead and get our backing. So again, it's up to you. I personally think that you should have like a sturdier one for like these dangly earrings, just because they are so much easier to fall off. So a lot of times I will use, the more heavy duty ones, but obviously there are some clear ones here that you can use as well. So that's probably what I will end up using for like my studs here. But really we don't have to worry about that until we have our backing card ready. So we're actually going to design a little one together real quick, and we'll use our handy dandy poster marker here. So let's get started. So obviously you should work with whatever design that you would like. For me, I'm going to just go ahead and write my name of business here on the back of it. Or I guess this will technically be the front, but at the bottom here. And I'm just gonna add in like a little ghost friend here. Again, you can use whatever works for your business or your artist name, what have you. But I think I'll probably end up like drawing in like some eyes there in a little bit, but we'll add like some little sparkles and I don't know, maybe some more little ghosts here and there, but just something to make it cute and so people will remember it by. And obviously when the design is finished, we can go ahead and add our earrings to it. So yeah, nothing wrong with a little design, but obviously might have been a good idea to plan ahead a little bit, but you can still see the name if you move it, so not a big deal. I'm not too concerned with it, but we'll go ahead and attach our little backing. So that way, for one, it doesn't slide off the card, and for two, obviously it's good to just go ahead and attach that for your earrings. And we'll add the other one here. Okay, and me personally, I always like to push it all the way up, so that way, hopefully the earring is not moving too much on you, especially if you have it displayed. But obviously, do what works best for you. You can play around and see what exactly you like. But here it is all finished. And yeah, I think it's really fun. I might add like a little more here for the card design, but honestly, I think I like it quite a bit. And here is how everything turned out. I think they're looking really cute and spooky and hopefully yummy, of course, with the cookies over here, but I'll probably add in like little face details to the ghosts of the backing cards in a bit. But I hope that you enjoyed this one. Maybe you found some helpful hints or tips on how to make your own clay earrings, and I will make sure to link all the supplies that I have for the backing cards and the actual earring supplies down in the description box of the video. So if you enjoyed this one, please do feel free to subscribe, maybe give a like, and leave a comment if there's something else that you'd like to see in the future from me. Hopefully next week we'll be getting back more into the studio vlogs. We are almost caught up from the previous month, so that's really great, honestly. So hopefully we can focus more on future content and what I'm working on currently. But until the next time, friends, I hope that you have a wonderful day.